Now we extend our olive branch to you, standing for the people with your host, Attorney Ali Shamsuddin, and guests, heard every Wednesday evening, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m., exclusively on 90.1 FM WMPR. This program shall focus on facts that we share with each other on this platform designated to inform, educate, and organize our communities in Jackson and abroad. No rational comments or opinions are regarded as being irrelevant, as your comments and participation could prove to be the cornerstone of our goal, being to restore moral ethics, integrity, respect, and progress in efforts to reach for a better future in all aspects of the everyday lives of our family and our children. We now join your host, Ali Shamsuddin, and guests, bringing to you Standing for the People, where together we can, heard exclusively on the Voice of the Community, 90.1 FM WMPR. We gotta change it, love, just you and me. I'm going alone, yes,
Good evening. It's 7 p.m. Wednesday. I'm Ali Shamsuddin, and this is Standing for the People. As I always say, this program is brought to you by the people. That's why you never hear me pointing out or singling out any particular sponsor, because my sponsors are the people. My sponsors are the citizens like yourself who got together and just decided that I need to be on the air again. I used to be on the air with Mr. Tisdale on Friday nights, Views from the Black Side. And now that Mr. Tisdale has gone to his reward, we had just stopped the program, but we're in a very crucial and critical point here in Mississippi, but particularly in Jackson, the city of Jackson, and Hinds County. And the purpose of this program is to help us understand how we can deal with the resources that we have. We're still paying taxes. Nobody has stopped paying taxes that I know of. And I try to make people understand it doesn't matter if you working or not. If you living and you spending money, you paying taxes. And that's how that goes. You spending taxes. You have to spend taxes to spend money, because you have 9 cents on every dollar that you got to spend. $9 for every $100 you got to spend. So you're still paying taxes. And the thing about that is, as we become more informed in our responsibilities as citizens, then we realize that if we're going to exercise our total rights and responsibility as citizens, then we got to register and you got to vote. When you're just talking, or whenever we're just talking to each other around on the street or some social function or whatever we happen to be at, that's well and good, but it don't matter, it don't count for anything if you don't register and vote. And one thing that they try to make us think is, it doesn't matter if I vote, things gonna be the same. That's what they are so afraid of, that one day we as a people will realize that's our greatest weapon as a citizen. Voting and putting the right people in the right places, that we can get the benefit of our tax dollars. Now, I've said the white community has had a 200-year head start on us in terms of understanding their responsibilities as a citizen and a full citizen, registering and voting. And what a lot of history don't tell enough of is that those organizations like the Ku Klux Klan, White Citizens Council, their whole effort was to run Black people out of the South. Why? Because we outnumbered them in great masses. Mississippi being one of the slave states, they were importing way more slaves into Mississippi than they were white folks coming into Mississippi. And at the end of the Civil War and slavery supposedly had ended, here we were in Mississippi outnumbering white folks sometimes 10-1. Now, what we have here in the unique situation we have in Hinds County and in Jackson is that we have a situation in terms of percentage or numbers in this state and this city that we are in control. I think some of us get afraid when they hear me say that we are the government. And it's not odd because most of us realize the government hadn't been doing nothing for us anyway. But now we have put people in these offices, the mayor, the city council, supervisors, judges, and they're the ones who make the decision about our lives every day. You know, it's well and good we vote for president and like that. That's good. But whoever the president is, including Trump, they're not making decisions about our everyday life. And they're not controlling the tax dollars that we put into our coffers, if you want to call it, or our budget here in Hinds County and in Jackson or in Mississippi. And when we start talking about being controlled, we talk about the ability to decide what money is going to be spent on what. Now that's power. That's power. And we have people now in all of these offices that when you look at Jackson, you look at Hinds County, you look at Jackson Public Schools, Hinds County Public Schools, all of the money in all those budgets are under the control of African Americans. I want people to kind of sit back and reflect on that sometime. That not a dollar can be spent by the city of Jackson unless some black folk say what it's going to be spent on. We're the majority. The same thing for the county. We got 5 supervisors, all 5 are black. Same thing. Any money that's spent out of the county, the board of supervisors are responsible for it, and they're the ones who make that decision. Now, we're not even talking about right or wrong right now. We're talking about responsibility and the ability to make decisions that affect all of us. Whether we white, black, or whatever. If you live in Hinds County, that's the way it is. And it don't have to be a negative. So we start thinking, okay, what you mean? We're not asking anybody to go out and do it in sit-ins, marching on anything, losing your job, getting beat over the head. We're saying go down, register, and vote, and let's keep ourselves aware of what's going on around us. And for those people who don't seem to get the picture, they serve one term. And that's it. So that's how we become more sophisticated about the unique situation that we found ourselves here in Jackson and in Hinds County. That we are over 80% of the population in both Jackson and Hinds County. So we need to begin to think about who we put in these offices and look around us and say, are we benefiting from the decisions that these people are making? Now, I always put that out there because I want to keep that on our mind. Now, we got some election coming up in November, is that right? Yeah, good. And for me, having sitting on a bench for 15 years, I used to hear the so-called complaint, because they want to put everything on the judges, so to speak, when you start talking about crime. The judges are too soft in Jackson. The judges are too soft in Hinds County. They judge are too soft. You know, but we don't keep track of what the judges over in Rankin County and Madison are doing. We know when you put black folks in jail. But are we supposed to think that just because we're black, we're more inclined to do criminal activity? It's something we need to think about when we start talking about the prison system in Mississippi. We 38% of the population and 68% of the prison population in Mississippi. You think about those numbers now. We 38% of the population as a whole, and 68% of the population in prison in Mississippi. But Judge King, he as he said, I want to bring some information to the public, and I said, well, come on, brother, because people need to hear. So he is sitting in the studio, and I always say, when I appreciate it when somebody say, I'm going to show up, and they do show up, and they're ready to. This is a call-in show. They're ready to answer your question. When they sit in here, I always tell them, when you come here, people are going to call in. You're going to have to speak up and answer their questions. So now we got an opportunity. We got a sitting judge here, county judge, and 601-948-5950. And we inviting you to call in and get to know him if you don't. So with that, I'm going to let you have the mic, Judge, and you can tell the people exactly what you are, who you are.
All right, good evening, Judge, and thank you for having me.
Yeah.
I'm Judge Yemi Kings. I am your sitting Hinds County Court Judge for Sub-District 2. And Sub-District 2 includes the following neighborhoods. It includes Georgetown, which is where I was born and raised, Shady Oaks, Sunset, Northwest Hills. The district goes over to the Queens. We have all of West Jackson. We got some of South Jackson.
Mm.
That's the district. I'm born and raised here in Jackson, graduate of Lanier High School, then Tougaloo College, and I went to law school at Thurgood Marshall School of Law. Then I came back home and started practicing law. I practiced for 16 years before being elected. In that time, I was in private practice. I was, for a period of time, I was an assistant public defender for Hinds County. I was a public defender in Warren County. I was the town prosecutor in Terry for a period of time. I was the deputy county prosecutor for Hinds County. So I did a lot on both sides, criminal and civil. And then I've been the county court judge since January of 2025. And in that time, we've been doing a lot of hard work. Now, I always hear folks say or claim that judges in Hinds County don't work and we don't work hard and all of that. Well, they released the numbers, the state released the numbers for all of the county courts in Mississippi. And our Hinds County Court civil docket, which I preside over, we close more cases than any county court in the entire state. And since I've been on the bench, we've resolved more than 6,000 cases. So we're working hard.
So now you mentioned districts, and this might be a simple question, but I hope it's enlightening. Simply because you represent a district don't mean you want to deal with issues out of that district, is that right?
Absolutely. So I preside over the civil docket. Those are the lawsuits of people who are suing for money up to $200,000.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of our cases are going to be evictions, consumer debt cases like credit cards,
Mm-hmm.
Car repossessions, foreclosure, evictions, then car accidents, just all sorts of civil suits that occur anywhere in Hinds County.
Okay.
And if you file in county court, it's going to come before me. So recently, Judge McDaniels, our senior county court judge, he assigned me to part of the criminal docket. So I preside over all of the initial appearances and preliminary hearings for felonies that occur at Jackson State University.
Oh, okay. Okay. So now, how many county judges do we have?
We have 3.
3. Now, every county don't have, I understand, may not have a county judge. Is that right?
Yeah, some counties don't have a county judge at all. And some have 1.
Okay.
Well, you don't have many that have 3, but we have 3. So, and it's split up 3 ways. So I have the civil docket and part of the county docket. The criminal docket. And then Judge McDaniels, he has the criminal docket, which is going to be the initial appearances and preliminary hearings on felonies. And then also the appeals, the criminal appeals from Justice Court. And I handle the criminal appeals from Justice Court. The civil appeals from Justice Court.
Mm-hmm.
And then lastly, we have the youth court, and our youth court judge, Judge Carlton Hicks.
Okay, so now in that you've been assigned different areas. Do any of you judges send anybody to prison, or what's the focus on that?
So, as far as the criminal docket in Hinds County, in the county court, we don't do any sentencing.
Mm-hmm.
We pretty much going to have the initial appearances, like setting bonds, and then the preliminary hearing where we got to determine, is it enough evidence for the case to go forward, or does the case need to be dismissed? And then once that determination is made, the case has to go forward, then it's sent over to the grand jury, then the case goes over to circuit court.
Okay.
So we don't do felony sentencing.
Sentencing.
County.
Okay, so now you said the limit is 200,000
Yes, on the civil jurisdiction.
civil side.
Yeah.
So do you actually have juries in those cases?
We have jury trials and bench trials. So the jury trials, in county court, you have 6 jurors.
Mhm.
In circuit court is 12, but we
Right.
have 6 in county court. But we also have bench trials where I, as the judge, make all the determinations and all the decisions with no jury. So we have both.
So how long have you been sitting now in this seat?
Since January 2025.
Okay, and it's a what, 4-year term?
Yeah, it's a 4-year term, but so I won a special election due to the passing of the late Judge Rita Cooper Stokes.
Right.
So I won the special election. So I was filling in the remainder of her term.
Okay.
So now I'm running for a full 4-year term.
Okay. Okay. I imagine it's a strenuous endeavor, right?
It is. I mean, at any given time, we got about 3,000 to 4,000 cases on the docket. And, motions filed, things like that. I got to do a lot of reading. And so it's strenuous.
People get confused, I think, between county and circuit. Do a person have to go to the county court instead of going to circuit court?
No, so if you're suing for up to $200,000 in a civil case, you can file it in county court or you can file it in circuit court. It's called concurrent jurisdiction. And then also for justice court, they call that small claims court.
Right.
Their jurisdiction is 0 to 3,500. I mean, sometimes folks may have a case they're suing for 3,000. They file that in county court sometimes.
Okay. So they don't have
They
to
don't
go.
have to.
Oh, okay, okay. So, that's where a lot of people get confused, in terms of what to actually do over there in terms of county court or circuit court.
And how I explain to people, because they always ask me, well, hey, can you handle a child support case or things like that? So I explain like this. If you want to divorce your husband, you go to chancery court. If you want to sue your husband about money, you can come see me in county court.
Mhm.
But if you were to kill your husband, you got to go to circuit court. So that's how I explain it to everybody.
That's quite distinct right there. Okay. That's a simple question then too. Are you enjoying what you're doing?
I enjoy it tremendously. I enjoy the things I do on the bench, but then outside the court, we doing a lot of good things. We had a mock trial with some youth from 3 different daycare centers in Jackson, and we did a trial. We had Minnie Mouse on trial for stealing cookies. We had somebody come in with Aaliyah.
Okay.
She wore the Minnie Mouse costume, and we had a trial, and we let the kids be the jury, and they voted to acquit Minnie Mouse. And then I talked to them about what you just did was jury duty and the importance of it. And when you grow up, you turn 21, show up for jury duty.
Right.
So I love the things we do outside the courtroom just as much.
Let's see, we got a caller here. Go ahead, caller, you're on there.
Hey, Judge, both judges, how y'all doing?
Good, how are you?
How are you, brother?
I'm doing well. Couple questions for the judge. What is the difference between chancery court and county court? I mean, who decides which one you're going to file your case in?
Well, so the law is written determines that. So we call chancery court, family law court. So if you're suing about things like divorce, custody, pretty much the statute determine what's going to have to be filed in chancery court and also with county court. But in county court, we don't handle the family law issues. We're going to be strictly handling those lawsuits, those civil lawsuits where you're suing for up to $200,000. And sometimes we get cases where folks filed in the wrong courtroom and I got to transfer it over to the other and vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
But statute determines that, I don't get to just choose what kind of case I'm going to take. Statute tells me, lays out, what our jurisdiction is.
Yeah, I got a case that's been going on for 15 years.
Oh, my goodness.
And yeah, man, it's a terrible thing. You can imagine the kind of legal fees that I got associated with that. But it's in chancery court, and but it's been going on for 15 years. That's a terrible thing. But I wanted to ask the judge in terms of the word is that anybody can get indicted. You can indict a ham sandwich if you want to. So, I mean, how does that process work for folks getting indicted? And in the current trial that's coming up where all of our elected officials got indicted, did that come through Hinds County or did that go through another jurisdiction?
If you're talking about the case with that's a federal court. They didn't come through Hinds County. That's a federal case. But that's an old saying. You can indict a ham sandwich. But I was a county prosecutor, and when I saw cases that I thought need to be dismissed, I dismissed them. I didn't go and indict folks just because I could. If I saw the evidence wasn't there, I just dismissed the case. That's what you're supposed to do.
And that saves the taxpayers money, right?
Right.
Right.
Yeah. Well, where did that slogan come from that you can indict a ham sandwich?
I don't know, but I've been hearing it ever since I've been practicing law.
I am too. And I thought that was a pretty easy thing to do to present something to the grand jury to get an indictment. That doesn't seem to take much to get that done. But anyway, I really appreciate it. I wanted to say that I admire you, Judge. I think you're doing an outstanding job. You a member of the community. You live and work in the community, always have. And I wish you much success in your endeavor to be re-elected.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate your call, brother.
All right, take care.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Now, I used to try to explain to people that an indictment don't mean you're guilty. A lot of people seem to think, well, you've been indicted for your guilt. An indictment is far from that, right?
Right. That's just a formal charge saying formally you're being accused of this. And then now, after indictment, you have your arraignment, then you get your trial day, you get your day in court to see what's going to happen.
Right. Go ahead, Carly, on there.
I think the judges are doing today.
Doing good.
Well,
I read in a fortune cookie once that it said that if you represent yourself as a lawyer, you have a proof for a client. Is that true?
Look, I don't say that because in my courtroom in county court, we have a lot of folks called being pro se, and you have to represent yourself. Now,
Okay.
I understand that not everybody can afford a lawyer. Sometimes let's say you want to sue somebody because you think they owe you $10,000. You may not have $10,000 to pay a lawyer, and you may just have to come in and do that yourself. So I don't believe that because sometimes you just have to. And the way I run the courtroom is I try to be patient with everybody and explain things as best I can. As a judge, I can't help you. I can't practice law for you, but I try to take my time, be patient with everybody because sometimes you're just in that position where you're gonna have to represent yourself. Now in criminal cases, if you get charged with a felony, you're entitled to a public defender. You're gonna have a lawyer. You got to worry about that. But on civil cases, sometimes you got to go at it yourself, and that's just kind of how it is sometimes, depending on how you finance it.
Right.
And there's a difference.
You should have been a judge a long time ago, but I have every case that I've ever did myself. I didn't last in the courtroom, man.
Well,
I so appreciate you.
thank you for your call, Carl. Thank you for your call.
Thank you.
And of course, this thing are different from a person trying to represent someone else. Now, constitutionally, as you would know, Judge, that you can always represent yourself if you choose to in any court. You can represent yourself. But a lay person, as that person would be called, they can't come in and represent somebody else because they think they know the law.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Carly, you're on there.
Judge, good afternoon. How you doing? Your friend, Pastor Jackson.
I'm good, Pastor
Yeah,
Jackson.
no.
How are you?
Good. You got the right judge in there now. Let me say two things. Judge King, when he first started running, he started out over a year ahead of time. And Judge, you're doing a tremendous job. I sit in your court, watch you. One thing about you, your back is not big. You can ask the judge who you sit beside. He and I, and Pastor P.J. Williams, along with
the late Mayor Chipway,
Yes.
we told the Klan they wasn't gonna march. We stood toe to toe with Ian Jackson. You understand the fight because you come from a good bowl club.
That's right.
Where your office is there on, I don't know if you're still there or not,
Yes, sir.
on Vega Evers, or Martin Luther, I think it's Martin Luther King.
Yes, sir.
The young man that built that building, he might be your grandfather or your father, or
My
his
grandfather,
name was Lawrence King. Lawrence King.
Lawrence Smith. Yes, sir. That's
Yeah,
my grandfather.
Lawrence, and I went to school at Jim Hill High School.
So,
He and I know how to, he loved me a lot of things. But I want you to know tonight, I'm supporting you 100%. And I talked to Pastor P.J. Williams, I talked to a whole lot of the preachers that didn't understand, now know we are schooling for. So you have to school black folks. You have to sit in a room with them with no doors, no windows where you can't crawl out.
Right. And repeat yourself.
You have to put it on. Yes, sir.
We got another call, Reverend
And
Jackson.
I want you. Well, let me say this, Jerry.
All right.
This coming Wednesday, we'll be there with your plaque and present that to you. That's all right with you.
It's always all right with me, Reverend Jackson. I appreciate y'all, man.
Well, now listen, now George, go back and take your seat. Just clean your uniform up, your robe up. Just go take your seat.
yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you for your call, Reverend Jackson.
Take my word.
Yes,
All
sir.
right,
Appreciate
we
you.
with you 100.
Thank you.
And thank you, George.
Yes, sir. I always appreciate you, Reverend Jackson. Thanks for calling. Go ahead, call you on there.
How you doing?
Turn your volume down just a little bit. Turn your volume down.
Oh. And hello.
Okay, we here. You're sounding better now.
I just wanted to speak to the Lord, yeah. Oh, all the cases that you've been doing, it's been mostly black people. Since I've been born in the 9th, it ain't been none but black people. You don't go nowhere but right here.
That's the rule. That's the
But
rule, Paul.
I just want you to do what I'm saying. Thank.
All right.
Yes, sir.
All right. Go ahead, caller. You're on there.
Yes, I had a question for the gentleman.
Go ahead.
Yes, sir.
Yes, I got a question about the individual that was being sued for the $95 million for their embezzlement at the credit union.
Yes,
When
sir.
you read on the news article, they saying that they wouldn't be in charge criminally. So I want to know why is that? Why are they only being sued and not being charged criminally?
Yeah, I'm not sure about that. I'll have to read over that and kind of get some more details, but I'm not sure about that. Did you
Yeah,
hear?
no, I'm not either, but I would say this, caller, if the charge is embezzlement on the face of it, that's a criminal charge. If let's say the bank, an individual is saying somebody took money that didn't belong to them, or that they didn't perform a job and that they had gotten paid to do, then that could be a civil matter. But if you say $35 million, that's quite a bit of money. And if the bank is suing for that, apparently this person apparently this person had control over that money at some point and misspent it. But still,
They were saying it was 95 million, but when I read
95.
the WLBT, they were saying they weren't being charged criminally, but they were being sued to freeze their accounts and stuff like that. So I was just wondering why they weren't being charged criminally for that amount of money, 95 million.
what's your take on that,
I
Jeff?
know if somebody stole my money, I'm gonna want to try to get my money back first. Then I'm gonna want you in jail after that. Because I put you in jail, you probably won't be to get my money back.
See, and in some cases, a person can be brought to court on both entities. And the most obvious case that was out there some years ago, but when you think about O.J. Simpson, first they charged him with a crime of murder, and he was found not guilty. But the family of the young lady and the young man, the families got together and sued him civilly by saying if he was most likely responsible for them being killed. So they brought that under a civil statute, but in that matter, he was tried in two different instances. This $95 million, I'm going to look into that too, brother, because I'd like to see why this person is not being charged criminally. Well, we appreciate the call. I got another call going. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Go ahead, caller.
Good afternoon, both judges, and it's both those 833 graduates.
Every day.
My favorite two judges, especially that little young judge sitting up there, he's doing it.
He's doing it, isn't he?
Yeah, but I got a comment. I was listening to someone ask about the credit union. Now, I spent 35 years doing federal cases, and I never seen this here. This is something new that she hasn't been charged criminally.
Well, I appreciate you bringing that out because that's kind of stomping both of us.
Yeah, I have worked a lot of credit union fraud, bank fraud. I have never seen anything like this.
Right,
So
right.
I'm wondering what's up with that.
And when you start talking about that amount of money, obviously, that person ain't carrying that amount of money around in their pocket. So if they're trying to say, we just want our money back, that's going to be a hard.
They're going to go back and require restitution if they had not already seized what they could.
Right.
Maybe like the young judge said, they want to get their money first, but I cannot see the FBI letting that go away. That's an FBI offense. That's bank fraud.
Right. You're absolutely right.
Even with that credit union. So I'm just waiting to see what my former people going to do with that.
Well, we're glad you're bringing it out because that's something that we should be aware of.
Yes,
We're going to follow that one.
we need to.
Yeah. Thank you for your call. Well, you want to chime in on that again in terms of whether or not that would be a criminal situation?
I mean, definitely could be a criminal situation. It's not as if they can't still pursue it criminally, but
Right.
I guess, it's kind of odd that they haven't done that with that amount of money.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. Go ahead, caller.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, judges.
Good afternoon.
It appears to me that we have a senior judge and a junior judge, but I have a question. Do all laws, is there any such thing as absolute law? And do all laws have nuance?
Okay. Did you hear his question?
I did.
Okay.
Absolute laws. We all absolutely have to follow the laws. Whether we agree with them or not, the laws that have been enacted, we got to follow those laws. And go ahead.
Yeah, well, and when you think in terms of a statute would be under that category when you say absolute. For instance, a person, let's say the speed limit is 45 miles an hour. That's a statute. Okay.
Yes,
if the cop out there on the beat gives you a ticket for going 46 miles an hour, Well, the statute would allow him to do that, although as judges, we would think something was wrong with that officer. He was having a very slow day or something. But whenever you say a statute, that's shall. I mean, this is what has to happen. But in some areas, there are gray areas of the law. And that's what.
Yeah,
brought
but
him
would
back.
that be still considered a nuance? In other words, if one person was driving 2 miles over the speed limit, another one was driving 7, but the one driving the 2 miles got mouthy with the cop. So he or she was getting a ticket. But the one who was driving 6 miles, they was pleading to the cop. Then they was, well, I'll let you go.
Right. Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Now I'll say this.
Okay.
There is a certain amount of discretion that judges have.
Mhm.
So the statute may say you can give somebody a $1 fine up to $1,000 fine,
Right.
and the judge can do anything in between, and it's totally fine. So
Right.
one person may get $1, one person may get 1,000, but it's going to be all up to the discretion of the judge.
Thank you for
Yes,
your
sir.
call,
Okay.
Paul. Thank you for your call.
Thank you, sir. Both of you.
All right.
So judge, so another thing, talking about statutes, statutes, sometimes they change. Sometimes the law changes. Now,
Right.
I'm gonna talk about briefly one law that has changed. And it's going to be changed on July 1st, and that's with youth court jurisdiction.
Okay.
And I was a youth court prosecutor for 10 years. So as the statute stands now, up until July 1st, there's certain offenses that are always going to go straight to adult court, straight to circuit court. They completely skip youth court, and those are going to be the cases where they carry life, like murder,
Mhm.
and then where a gun is used, like armed robbery, armed carjacking, things like that. Those cases go directly to adult court. But there's a change now where there are going to be more cases that are going to be able to not go to youth court and go directly to circuit court. Number one, I'll give you 2 examples. Let's say a child breaks into a house and they have a gun in their pocket or in their book bag.
Mhm.
They never use it, never pull it out.
Mhm.
Now they're going to circuit court,
Okay.
not even going to youth court anymore.
No more juvenile.
No, yeah. Now, also another example, let's say there's a robbery. Let's say a child takes somebody's phone. Again, got a gun in your pocket, never pulled it out, never used it. Now, after July 1st, that child's going to circuit court, not youth court.
Mhm.
Now, so when children go to youth court, number one, this stuff is confidential. They're not going to have a felony record. And the purpose of youth court is 100% to try to get their child some help
Right.
and get them on the right track.
Right.
When you go to circuit court to adult court, that's a whole different path.
All right, Colin. Thanks for holding.
Hello, how y'all judges doing tonight?
Doing well. Good to hear you.
What you were describing just now, Judge King is that's just enough to keep our kids criminalized, and get them to the penal system quicker and faster. That's all that is. That's gonna be a sad reality for some of my kids here in Hines County, City of Jackson also. But I wanted to say, last time you ran, Judge, I brought you a cup of coffee. What you want now? Snow law?
Yeah, we're gonna be hot right now.
Put it. You got to put it on in now.
Yeah, I was out holding up a sign on the corner.
And
It
let me
was
say
cold.
this right here real fast, and I'm gonna hang up, and I'm gonna have them get by my garage before somebody hear me. But don't ever think 833 running nothing.
No! You had to get that in.
Just know that. All right, y'all have a good night.
All right, you
All
too.
right. I'm going to let you slide with that one this time. Okay, Carla, go ahead. You're on there.
Since we got 2 judges in the house today, I would like to ask this question. I mean, you don't have to be specific in the judgment, but it's kind of confusing to the public as the Carmel Anthony case in Texas, and a young kid that got shot in the back for grabbing a bottle of water, so they chased him down and shot him in the back, as opposed to Carmel Anthony defending himself and stabbed the man in the chest. Now, how is it that this one is different than the other? I mean, we all thought that if a person had run away from, he's not a threat to you. And if you defend yourself, why should you be those years from defending yourself?
Now, you're making a good point there, Carla, and that's something that why we say we have to be very, very concerned about who we put in these seats, particularly as judges. Because under any statute that I know of, criminal wise, if a person is turning their back on you and running away, that is not a threat. You cannot use self-defense in that. No more than if somebody hit you with a bat, so to speak, and run away and you hunt them down and shoot them. That won't fly. But unless you got some racist, I'll say it outright, you got some racist judges who will let that type of thing proceed. So you're making a good point there.
For instance, both of the young men were black. Now how do our young men supposed to act, carry themselves today, as far as put in a predicament like that? Do they fight for their life or do they run for their life? Either way, getting killed. Either way, nothing about the two business that we've done to give them any justice.
Go ahead, Judge.
Well, I can't say anything specific about that because as a sitting judge, somebody will take what I said and say, well, you've already made up your mind about how you're going to look at self-defense, things like that. So I can't say anything about that aspect.
They call that victim or whatever.
So I say this is when I talk to young men about police interactions and all of that, I just tell them what I do. When I get pulled over, I'm yes officer, no officer. I don't even say, hey, I'm a judge. No, I am. I don't say none of that. I just yes officer, no officer. I have my hands where they can see them, have my ID ready, and that's it. I try to respect the possible.
Don't tell me you talk a lot too, man.
Let me go to another caller. Thank you for your call. Appreciate it. Go ahead, caller, you're on the air. We can't understand you, caller.
Thank you for letting me speak to you. But anyway, the people that you talk about that need the law, but we gonna make this new law. What is you gonna be doing at that time to help your children, your black children? I ain't talking about no other. You keep talking about that white man.
Thank you for your call. You want to chime in on that?
I don't think I can. I don't think I can.
I really couldn't appreciate what he was saying, but what people need to understand, when we start talking about the law and how things are done, and simply because we are African American, we out here trying to seek revenge. That's not the law. What a judge's responsibility is to see that the rules of court are followed equally
by everybody.
By everybody, no preference. So a judge is not supposed to have a personal interest in the outcome of a trial before that judge. So when we look at and we're human beings too, and I'm a human being, we look on the media and we see where somebody, even an officer. That's why I say we're not in the situation, thankfully, where we have racist white cops out there that are shooting people in the back or shooting people, unarmed people, and claiming that they were afraid for their life, because they know that's not going to fly. That's not going to fly here. But where in those jurisdictions where those type of things happen, it is nitpicking the law. If a person say I'm fearing for my life, then the statute and the elements of fearing for your life have to come into play for everybody. So that's the way the law is supposed to work. So that's again why we say in this unique situation that we have here in Hinds County, this unique situation that we have here in Jackson, for people who don't tend to understand why we put them in that office, that's where we begin to have a problem. And that's why it's so important that we register and we vote and we pay attention to who we put in these seats. Thank you for your call, Paul.
And Judge, again, a judge is supposed to be like the referee in a ball game.
Right.
You just making sure the rules are applied, everybody follows the rules, and you're not supposed to have you're not supposed to care about the outcome, who's going to win or lose. And that's my job, is to be a referee. So I don't walk in saying, well, this person needs to win. This is how I feel about it. No, that goes out the window. Forget what I feel.
Right, right. And see, if a judge know that in their heart, they should recuse themselves. And a judge can do that. If a judge say, well, I'm too intimately involved, however, in the subject matter here, or the person that's coming before me,
Absolutely.
I won't take that. We don't take that case.
Yeah, if my mom came in my courtroom, I'm gonna recuse
Exactly.
because I know I'm gonna want to do something to help my mom, so I got to recuse from that case.
Exactly. Go ahead, Carl.
There is no call in the queue.
I don't know if I cut him off or not. But yeah, that's the position of a judge. The judge is supposed to be fair in all instances, and the rules are what they are. That's why a lot of times, and I say to people, I say, I don't like to argue. They say, well, you're an attorney, you don't like to argue. But see, in a courtroom, everybody has to follow the rules.
Right.
The rules are fair. So you don't get to just bring up issues just because you think that will sway the jury. You don't get to do that. You have to stay on point, and the judge is there to see that you do stay on point. So that's how that process goes. But you're seeking a new term now that's going to be in November, you say?
Yes, November 3rd.
November 3rd. Okay. So again, because you're running out of a district, that doesn't mean that you don't apply. You're not seeing people out throughout the county.
Yeah, I see people from the entire Hinds County. Then also I handle sometimes jury qualification for the circuit court judges.
Uh-huh.
And again, we have jurors coming in from all over the county, and I preside over that. Let me talk a little bit about jury duty.
Go ahead. Right.
Look, we need everybody, when you get that notice in the mail, please show up. Because when I'm qualifying jurors, number one, we got to make sure everybody's legally qualified to be on the jury. Then we got to look at the certain excuses and exemptions that apply and let people go for those reasons. But then at the end of all that, I got to make sure I have enough people to have trials.
Right.
And sometimes we got several judges having trials, and I got to tell folks, well, hey, I want to let you go, but I can't, because if I do, we won't be able to have trials.
Right.
So we got to have folks to show up. It's a civic duty. It's really one of the greatest things you can do for your community. You get a firsthand, behind the scenes look at how the system works.
Mm-hmm.
What it takes for somebody to be charged or to be convicted, and what the process is for trial, and then get to make that ultimate determination about what's going to happen.
Right. Right. And that's again on that level of a jury of your peers. When judges don't know who is going to get that notice out there. So we call in, they're sent out by the circuit clerk, and we hope people show up, because that's how you keep the balance in any courtroom. Especially if you got a jury trial, that's how you keep the balance. So, and how they're going to look at the law and how they think the law should be. That's how a citizen express themselves and let their voice be heard when you're sitting on that jury. So, we've been getting some good questions tonight, Judge. And you said you would come in, you wouldn't run from the questions. So, but that's what it's about. And that's how we, as I say, pay attention. That's how we get to know who we are putting in these positions of authority. And that's how these are the people who determine how the statute, these are people who determine how the statute is going to be applied. And then seeing that jurors understand what their role and responsibility is, when they're sitting there on a jury. So all these things, we have a unique situation here in Hinds County, a unique situation here in Jackson. And, it's just pitiful when we don't exercise that. When you get called to be on jury duty, a lot of people want to make an excuse, well, I don't have time. But what if everybody did that? What if everybody, we would able to have a juror of of your peers?
Let me add this in. You know that the judges have the authority. They can send the sheriff deputy to come pick folks up when they don't show up. You try not to do that, but that can happen if we don't have enough people.
Right. So that, a lot of times people get to see that, and I know they throw it in the trash, and some people actually, I recall people come in and they, well, I'm 65. Well, okay, that's a reason, but we would appreciate if you go on and sit there and adjourn.
And I asked them, I'm like, can you stay? Can you help us out? Sometime they will.
Right. So this is the thing here that said this program, we want people to be informed. We're not a dumb people. We're not a stupid people. A lot of things we just didn't have knowledge of, and nobody was taking the time to tell us. But now we are being informed, and we are learning that we have a responsibility as a citizen. To just think that you're going to live anywhere, any city or any county, and just take in the resources of that city or that county, and don't think you have a responsibility to see that things run the way they're supposed to. And the only way you're going to do that is, one, registering to vote and vote it. And then when you get these notices to sit on the jury, that you accept that, you go down, because you may not even be picked. So there's still a process, but it's always good to know that our citizens will meet the call. So let's tell the people who you are again and what you are running for.
Yeah, so Judge, my closing argument, again, I'm Judge Emmett Keynes. I am your current Hinds County Court Judge, and I'm seeking re-election on November 3rd. I am a judge that is from the community, for the community. I'm the only candidate in my race that actually lives in the district. And I think that's important. Our previous judge, the late Judge Rita Cooper Stokes, she lived in the district. And it was important for me and for other young people to see the judge and to see her in the community. And our youth see me in the community. I'm in the community, I'm at the schools, they see me, I get to talk to them. I think that's important. I want us to continue to have a judge that actually lives in our community. And again, also experience matters. I've talked about what we've been able to do, because out of close more than 6,000 cases, because out of way more than that. We're just doing a lot of work in the courtroom, outside the courtroom, and I'm asking for your vote to continue to serve as your county court judge.
And I've seen where you are out there, man, and that's so important. One thing that really struck me, if I can say this, and kind of a personal thing, I was having breakfast with an elderly friend of mine, gentleman, and all of a sudden he started laughing. And I said, well, yeah, brother, what you laughing at? He said, I never in my life thought I'd be sitting down to breakfast with a judge. And that, just to hear him say that and what it meant to me, that, when we put people in these offices, city council, the mayor, make themselves accessible. A lot of times they get in these positions and they think that now I'm Mr. High and Mighty or Miss High and Mighty, and I don't have to go out into the community anymore. But that's not what it's like. They do it when they're campaigning. And like I say, you never hear anybody campaign and say, I don't know what to do, or I don't know how to do anything. But they don't do that until they get in office and disappear. So this is why it's so important to us. It's so important for us to listen to people, get to know them, get to know these candidates, and make them answer your question. Did we get that call? Okay, I thought we had a call. Did we miss it? Okay. We're getting down to the end of our show here, so we probably won't be taking any more calls. But again, we can't stress to you enough. I'm so glad that Judge King came in. He said he was coming, and he came. I hope he imparted some information for you to think about out there as citizens, and kind of know what his court does as opposed to any other court that we have. And again, we both stress it. We both stress it's important. It's important that you do that. So with that, I'm glad you came. We're gonna look into this. What is 91 million in funds, Jackson Area Federal Credit Union. Man, that's a big leak right there. That's a huge leak, and the embezzlement is a crime. I don't know how they want to look at it, but that's the law. Embezzlement is a crime. Lee and Chad Bridges, But we're gonna follow that one. I guarantee you, we're gonna follow that one. Lady Sheree. We'll be here again next Wednesday, 7 p.m., standing for the people. Yeah, I heard that.